Hi, this is Jenny from Raw Art Designs. Welcome to day 5 of our 30 days of painting. We're doing, yes, another sunset, just a different way. This one is what I call a reflective sunset, so it's reflecting what's up top to what's down in the water. All right, and colours I'm using are red, orange, yellow, and I've used Viridian green up the top, but you could use turquoise or blue, up to you. I just wanted to use something different, and of course white for our reflections and the sun, and then black for the silhouettes. So is it also a very simple silhouette drawing as painting as well. So we will be doing some coloured ways to do trees and reeds later on in the 30 days. But as I said, I just want you to start off simple and get used to using your brushes. So again, it's on an 8x8 canvas, and I have taped the edges ready to go. Alright, so we can start with a large brush. I'm just going to wet that a little bit. And we're going to start in the middle of our canvas. So remember, we're doing a reflection of the sky into the water. So I'll start with some yellow in the middle. So there's roughly our middle. And I'm just making that wide. And I'm just going to put a little bit of white to give a bit of reflection and lighter colour just in that middle section of it. And then we're going to come in with some orange. We are doing a streaky one, so we want to just leave some white space so we can put some red through that. So just try and mimic what you've done on either side, and then coming in with some red. I'm just going on the side of my brush again, just bring that red through. Got a little bit of white on my brush too, so it's going to lighten up in some spots. It doesn't matter if it's not exactly what the top one looks like. I don't think anyone's going to sit there and judge you and go, oh, that's not exactly the same. Now always when I change to a darker colour, especially when you're using either red or magenta, I rinse my brush out. Actually, before I do that, I've got some white showing through on my canvas, so I can come in with either some yellow or some more orange, and we'll just go over that. Where the white is showing. So rinsing out the brush, drying it off, and I'm grabbing the Viridian, or you could, like I said, you could use turquoise. Just going with this just for a different colour. So I'm starting at the top this time, like from the top of the canvas. I'm just going to come down till I nearly touch the red, and then I'm going to come down to the bottom and do this. Whoop, we got some red. So see what happens, it changes to like a purpley colour. I'm going to add some white streaks through that Viridian colour and down the bottom here. So I just streaked over that. Don't want to over blend because we want the white to show a bit. So then I'm just wiping my brush off. Now it's up to you. You can either grab a little bit of the Viridian or the red, and then we're just going to gently bring it in to the red to see how it's changing that colour. Now I'm just going to do I'm just going to pick up a little bit of red and do a couple of strokes up into that Viridian, and then do the same down the bottom. Oh, we've got some red there happening. I'll just do now. It hasn't blended very well there, so I'm just rinsing my brush. I'm just going to bring some more red to the top there, just to blend that a bit better. Alright, so as that dries, we can add a little bit of white in, which will be the reflection of our sun. So I'm just going to dry that off now so that we can add in the black land. Alright, so we're going to add in our sun. So I'm just grabbing my little brush and I'm going to, just need to wet my little brush. It's a bit hard. So we're just doing a circle. If you want it to be a little bit hazy on the outside, just wipe the white off, most of the white off your brush. We're just doing like a dry brush around the outside, so it just gives that hazy look. And we're just going to do some reflections on the water. So the water is actually, so we're going to go halfway here is where the land is going to be. So just in this bit, so just using your little brush, we're just going to it's not touching all the way, making some light reflective lights. So how it would be the light shining down on the water. So I'm just moving my brush. It's not fully touching, not loading it with lots of paint, and it's sort of going into a triangle reflection down this way. Rinsing our brush out, drying it off, and then with the land we're going to, so there's where our water starts, so we want the bottom of the land to be there and there. So that's going to be the base of our land. I'm not going to do it too big, I'm just doing it down into a little triangle. And colour that in. And then we're just going to do some little trees. So let's do some little lines. Going to be very basic, and then we're just getting our end of our brush and just doing like we're doing dotting it sort of, so just to make the tree shapes. And if you want to put some bushes down the bottom, just you can add some extras in there. And we'll do the same on the other side. So just make it a tree shape. It doesn't have to be, because remember it is a silhouette. It doesn't have to be perfect. As long as you can make out that it is a tree. I'll just put some little. Now, for the reflection, we don't want too much paint on our brush, so just wipe your brush off a bit, and we're just doing, we're not fully covering it in. So think about upside down, and it's probably not going to reflect all of it, just a little bit into that water. Remember, we don't want too much paint. And the same on the other side. So just when you reload your brush, just put a tiny, tiny little bit of paint on there. And the reflection isn't exactly like what it was. It's just giving you giving the impression that it's the trees. And then we're doing some reeds at the front. So again, using your little liner brush, we're just going to, now I like to hold it more like a pencil when I'm doing these, just so I can get that line. So we're just doing some flicking up to get the reeds. And then it's just got we're just going to stamp on the end of them. And if you want, you can just stamp in a couple of little leaves on some of the reeds. That one hasn't got. Or you could just leave them with just the pods on the end, and then we're just going to do them in different directions. Some are going to be thin, some are going to be wider than the others. So this is like an easy silhouette. We will do some coloured ones later. I'll show you how to do those in a coloured picture. If you want to put some little leaves, just stamp it on there. Alright, so that was a very simple reflective silhouette sunset. And you can carefully take off your masking tape. And there you have another way of doing a very simple sunset. So I hope you enjoyed this painting, and I'll see you in day 6.